All right, I'm back. And so I have here the Dragon Ruler version 1 for the upcoming updated ban list. So I'm still going to be testing this out, obviously, since I had to put this in unlimited mode just to even kind of put the cards in there and just kind of see how it would look once I had everything in. Because obviously all the Dragon Rulers are going to be coming out in about 2 days. So this is kind of where I started up the deck at. So majority of the deck is Dragon Rulers. I'm playing pretty much three of all the big Dragon Rulers. Again, this is just a starter version, but I'm playing all three of them. This was very expensive. This is on my main profile where I had the URs hidden with, behind all my royals. So I went ahead and made it. That's how invested I was to making this. Um, I decided to go with the two baby rulers each, just because, like, I didn't want so many, but I might still be adjusting it. Like I might put those at three and then drop some of my other cards down to two. But um, just to first speak on the Dragon Ruler part, I'm kind of running it that way. And the main thing is just trying to get a whole lot of bodies on the field and kind of a reoccurring system going. Now, as you could obviously tell, this is a 60 card deck, and I think this means running grass. And the reason I am, because obviously with the Dragon Rulers, you want a whole lot of cards from the graveyard. So grass is kind of a no-brainer. And because the Dragon Rulers, just the engine itself is just so massive, it kind of makes sense to put it at 60. Um, and then I'm combining it with the Dragon Maids. I even have like some of these just because of different attributes, and so if you have like a Gold Sark, you can banish your Tempest to search your Parlor Dragon Maid to start off there. Um, Pretty much all of them in some way, shape, or form can just kind of help facilitate play. So I at least included one of each, but obviously Parlor and Chamber are the ones that you want to see in your opening hand, and the others are just kind of there for their attributes. Just in case you end up banishing a blaster, you could search a kitchen off of it, because really adding another burner to your hand isn't as effective. But again, as I continue to play, we'll see. Um, I'm also running a more hand traps, so obviously Maxi and Ash in here, but in this case, is less for the cringe of having to run these cards and just more of their elemental. So if you have Ash and Blaster and you're going second, you have this really rare opportunity to just destroy a card on the field without having to put anything on the field itself. If you have Maxi and for whatever reason you didn't use it to, turn off your opponent's turn, you have the ability to monster born something from the graveyard. Is that the best use of Maxi? I don't think so, but it is a use, so that's why it's here. You could also drop these down to two and then also include the other um, of these girls. I forgot what they're all called, but you could include those two just because they're of other elements as well and just kind of have that synergy there. So that explains the hand trap package, that explains the Dragon Maze and why we have this. There are some rare situations that, two dark dragon monsters may come up because you're going to see a lot of your chamber. You might also have your bestial magna hut, yeah, whatever. You could also include like a dragon's mirror in here just to kind of make some of these plays a little bit easier. But it's really hard to honestly, the hardest part about this deck is just figuring out how to build the extra deck. Just because, like, even though we joke and say that, like, oh, the Dragon Rulers can't do anything, they're actually, in practice, they're really good at a lot of stuff. Like, it's not difficult to link climb. Hence why we have the Borosword Dragon in here. I wanted to go for Borosword. Yes, I could run access code, but we're based. So we're running Boar Sword. Okay? So we're not here trying to run access code because everybody else is running it. Yes, it would work, and you have the different attributes, so it would theoretically be three pops, and you can make it turn two very consistently, actually. But we're based individuals around here, and here we go. Now, um, you can see I have Armagram and Gusamir in here. Um, Armagram only because it's like an honorary dragon ruler. So obviously I'm going to include this in here because of that reason. And it's just a bigger body dragon ruler. So if you do manage to like that grass is greener, mill everything, and you have this, like this is just a big body with 2900 that's reoccurring every single turn, and it forces out interactions as you can target and negate a card in the field. So if they have a Barone, they have to use their Barone and interact with this, because otherwise you can swing over something and it uses effect to even lower its attack, that whatever you're targeting attack by 1,000. So this is, I would say, if you're ever running a Dragon Ruler deck, you want to run this card in there. Absolutely, you're not going to regret it. And again, if you banish your Tempest, you could search this off of it. You still have your synergy there, or you could use your Tempest. If you open both these cards, you could use, send that to the graveyard, and then add your Chamber Dragon Maid. And if you happen to get another dragon in the graveyard, you can then banish the two dragons to then special summon itself to go into a Shiyu. So now you're probably looking at some of the other extra deck stuff. So these two, you probably would be like, yeah, those make sense. Bestial Dissipator, we're playing a ton of dragons, and we have level 3 Ash, level 3 Dragunity, tuner, so it's really easy. But this guy requires a dark tuner. So this is the spice I wanted to add in here. Is this card right here. Raid Raptor Arsenal Falcon. 2 level 7 monsters. Detach one material from this card, special summon 1 level 4 winged beast monster from your deck. And it doesn't say anything else. The effect does not negate it. This card says, when this card is normal special summon, you can target one Blackwing monster you control, then activate one of these effects. Increases level by 1, reduces level by 1. And it's a dark tuner. And so if you manage to, in a convoluted way, there was one way I might be able to set it back up again. But you can actually make this happen with the Dragon Maid package, depending on what your hand looks like. So you might have like a couple more extenders in hospitality and tidying. But if you can get the 2 level 7s on field, which is really just like 2 of these things, and it's not as difficult as it may seem. It's really not. Um, you can special summon that from the deck, and then just put another body on the field, and then there you go. Because the thing about this deck is, this deck cannot be, it's not a turn one deck. It's not like a turn one several negate. This is a grind deck. And so would you typically get a card like this out turn one? Probably not. Your hand would have to be a custom 5 card hand to make it happen. Granted, that's actually not that difficult to do in here. But it would be a 5 card kind of hand. But the thing is this deck is going to have a better grind game to it. Small world here, because it's small world, we're playing a lot of cards with different attributes and bridges and everything like that. And to specifically speak on why we have this here, on top of it being a level 3 tuner and a wind dragon to once again be searched by Tempest, its effect actually allows you to special summon a level 4 lower wind dragon from the graveyard, which could either be a Dragon Ruler here or your Parlor Maid. Now I'm not playing any level 6 or level 7 synchros, just because this isn't going to come up all that often. If it does, there are some plays with it that can kind of kick things off, but for the most part, this is just like a really good, if you happen to have the setup for it, it's such a really good normal summon. Like again, if you have this and that grass is greener, and you do manage to send the Parlor Dragon Maid to the graveyard, and a changeover, you can normal summon this, it will special summon that back, but then you don't activate its effect because it's negated, and then you use changeover to add the Parlor back to your hand, and if you have any big dragons in your hand, you can fusion summon that way. Um, you can re-special summon any of your dragon rules at the graveyard to then synchro with it to either go into your Barone or your Bestial Dissipator. So there's just a lot of different plays here for the most part. And surprisingly, despite how big it is, as you can see here, you're going to have some plays. Um, Obviously, this one is like a normal chamber and prey type hand, but you have the triple tax, which is a staple in my opinion, that you always want to run. And oh, looking at now, we're just really going to be popping off once these two cards are drawn. If you do get ashed, um, even here you have some plays. Still a good normal summon because it's just mill 3, and you can just kind of go off from there and just see what you can make happen. So the deck is fully capable of making some plays, and it's really good. But the main thing is it's super creative, and that's kind of how this is going to play out. It's still a work in progress, obviously, and obviously the very first thing I'm cutting is going to be the Blackwing package. But I wanted to include it because I'm just like, it's so cool that you can have those type of interactions in here, and I think there are some places where the Dragon Rulers could really fit in there with a lot of testing and people just putting their brains together and coming up to some conclusions on what can be done. Um, and that's the main reason why I wanted to include that in here is just because, like, I think the Dragon Rulers, once we really, really, really decide to try to put some work and effort into them, we could probably make something really cool happen with them, other than Aurora Dawn Turbo, which, if you want that, I'm sure you can. That combo's been here for forever. You know exactly what it looks like, how to set it up, and the Arm Dragon package would be better for that. But I will also make another follow-up video, potentially working with the Arm Dragon stuff and trying to again make a more unique take into it, and not so much the Aurora Dawn combo that we typically see. So I wanted to go ahead and kind of get this out there, kind of get some ideas going. Feel free to tell me I'm an idiot in the comments. I'm sure somebody will. Apparently my videos are starting to get enough views where people are starting to show up a lot more, and I appreciate that. Thanks for viewing. And so here's the second one. This is where my direction with this is going to go. I'm actually going to not play Dragoonity this season, and I'm just going to go for Diamond rank. I'm not going to go for Masters. I'm playing way too many games at the moment, so I'm not going to go for Masters because I've been back on Overwatch. I am GM3 on there right now. I'm gonna try to get GM1 again. I'm playing Pokemon Unite. That season's about to reset, so I had to grind back up in the Masters. That's a 1 day thing. That game is easy. Might play some more Apex with some friends again. So I don't know. I don't know. Until this stupid thing gets banned, it's an experience playing this. And typically, I should also point out, typically you guys, I'm a big Psyframe Gamma player. I love this card. I think it's one of the best hand traps ever. The only reason I'm not playing in this deck is just because Chaos Ruler is getting banned. Otherwise, I would have that and Chaos Ruler in here because something that a lot of people I think overlook is that Chaos Ruler is it's a Dragon Ruler. I know it's not Chaos, Dragon Ruler, but like it is a Dragon Ruler. It's level 8, and it mills cards from the top of the deck to the graveyard, which is exactly plays to the Dragon Ruler setup. Granted, they're not. It's not searching like the dart, but when you think about all the other Dragon Rulers, they're not searching each other either. So there you go. And then there's my door. But yeah, so thank you all for listening, and Happy New Year.